In this video, I'm going to be explaining how I got this. Yeah, this. The first way I got this photo to stand out is a pretty obvious one. Go to a dark sky site. Light polluted cities, you really can't capture the Milky Way even subtly because, well, the horizon. It's really hard to remove gradients, especially for Milky Way. Like if you're really zoomed in on a deep sky target, it's much easier to get a good photo. But when you're in the light polluted city, you have the whole sky basically you're trying to photograph, and you're basically going to have a huge gradient because most light pollution is on the horizon. So it's basically impossible to remove in post-processing. I have tried multiple times. My second tip is to use a combination of both PixInsight and Photoshop for processing the Milky Way. PixInsight is a very good tool because it has tools like ArcSign Stretch, which really help bring out the vivid colors in the Milky Way, and it also has dynamic background extraction, which can help remove any excess light pollution and artifacts from your image. Another thing for Photoshop is that you can use texture and clarity to really boost the details in the Milky Way. So that's why I use a combination of both, because they both are good for different things. PixInsight is good for stretching and all the other essential stuff for astrophotography, whereas Photoshop is good for enhancing the photos. My third tip is to for sure stack your photos. I actually seen a Microsoft Windows cover photo, one of those covers photos that's on Microsoft Windows you can choose from. But I could just tell they didn't stack their photos. I was closely expecting it because I'm a nitpicky astrophotographer. I like to nitpick every little detail. Their stars were a little bit trailed, very noisy background. The Milky Way didn't look very defined, so I could tell they didn't really stack this. So if you want to get great Milky Way photos, defined inside the picture, you for sure have to stack. So hundreds, thousands. I took around 40 minutes of this one. So for sure, if you go to a dark site, make sure to collect as many photos as possible and stack almost all of them. Not all of them, but as many as possible. As many good frames as there were. My fourth tip for those of you without a star tracker is to take as many exposures as possible with shorter exposures per photo. The reason why I'm saying this is because when you take longer exposures, you're going to get trailing, especially if you don't have a star tracker. So I recommend maybe 4 seconds to 6 seconds is the typical range, but maybe even take less if you're more zoomed into the photo, because you're going to get trailing otherwise, especially if you don't have a star tracker. But if you're taking shorter exposure times, make sure to take more photos because your total integration time isn't going to be enough, especially if you want to define a Milky Way. My final tip for a really nice sharp photo like this one is do not over-process, do not over-denoise. I know it sounds tempting when you have a lot of noise in your photos, and also don't overstretch is a biggie. If you overstretch or have too much denoising, this can be a really bad thing for your photo because you introduce artifacts. I've definitely had this in the past. So it makes your photo look less clean and professional. So if you really want to have a nice looking photo, make sure you're careful on your processing. Also, my name is Asher and I run this channel here at Astrophotography Quest. If you like this kind of content, make sure to subscribe for more videos just like this one. Anyways, until next time, clear skies.